Early 60s, that was a wonderful place to go, place to meet people, place to bring people.
Salton City, they were just bringing busloads of people down there.
You know what? This is as good as it gets. This is heaven. This is my place. I will be here the rest of my life.
In the southeastern corner of California, there is a sea that was never supposed to be there. No river feeds it, no river drains it, no connection to the ocean anywhere. The only way water leaves this lake is by evaporating into the desert air. It wasn't planned. It wasn't built. It happened by accident. And yet, for a few decades after that, this accidental lake became one of the biggest destinations in Southern California. At its peak, more people visited this lake every year than visited Yosemite. They called it the California Riviera. Here's what this documentary is really about. It isn't about a lake. It isn't about water chemistry or salinity levels or environmental policy. It's about what happens physically on the ground when a place like that runs out. When the thing that built it starts taking it apart, and about what gets left behind when people go. The buildings, the ruins, the streets that were paved for a city that never arrived. The Salton Sea is just the place where that story became visible enough if you watch till the end. Let's start from the very beginning.
There were hundreds of thousands of people that visited Salton Sea, more than Yosemite National Park. You hear stories about not being able to move on Highway 111 because of all the people that were coming down.
In 1905, engineers cut irrigation canals from the Colorado River to bring water to farms in California's Imperial Valley. That same year, the river flooded, the largest flood on record. The water broke through the canal, and for nearly 2 years, the entire Colorado River poured into a dry desert basin called the Salton Sink. By the time they got it under control in 1907, that basin held a new lake covering roughly 400 square miles. They called it the Salton Sea. For the first few decades, not much happened. It was just a large lake in the middle of nowhere. But by the 1950s, that started to change. Fast. People started coming, first a few, then a lot. The desert climate, the open water, the fact that nothing like this was supposed to exist out here, it all became the draw. Towns sprang up along the shore: Salton City, Bombay Beach, North Shore. The Ski Inn opened in Bombay Beach as a bar for the fishing and boating crowd. It's still there today, which is more than can be said for most of what was built around it. On the western shore, a developer named Penn Phillips bought up thousands of acres and started selling lots for what he promised would be a major lakefront city: Salton City. Streets were paved, sewer lines went in, all of it built ahead of the houses that were supposed to follow. For about a decade, this was a genuine boom town, a desert that had nothing, turned into a coastline with marinas, resorts, and a guest list that read like a Vegas lineup. None of it lasted. The first sign of trouble wasn't drought. It was the opposite. In the mid-1970s, years of heavy rain pushed the sea's water level up, and shoreline towns started flooding. Then in 1976, Hurricane Kathleen hit, and the sea rose 8 feet in 3 hours. The Bombay Beach trailer park flooded and sank in place. A second storm in 1977 finished off what survived the first one. Marinas were destroyed. Resorts that had been holding on gave up. That was the visible damage. The bigger problem was underneath, and it had been building the whole time. The Salton Sea has no outlet. Nothing flows out except evaporation, and what flows in is agricultural runoff. Water draining off nearby farms, carrying fertilizer and pesticide residue with it. Every bit of that has stayed in this lake since the day it formed, and the salt level has been climbing the entire time. Today, the water here is roughly 1.5 times saltier than the ocean. As the salt rose, the lake started killing what lived in it. Between 1991 and 1992, an estimated 150,000 birds died here. In 1996, the worst pelican die-off ever recorded in the U.S. happened on this lake. In 1999, 8 million fish died in a single day. 8 million in one day. What's left from those die-offs is still here. The smell from it became its own regional problem. People miles away could tell which way the wind was blowing just from the air. And as the water receded, the sea has lost about 1/3 of its volume in the last 25 years. It left behind something else. Exposed lakebed, dry, cracked ground that used to be underwater, now sitting there, releasing dust that carries decades of chemical residue with it. That dust blows into nearby towns. The communities around this lake have some of the highest pediatric asthma rates in the country. So that's the why. The water turned toxic. The fish died. The smell got worse. The shoreline pulled back, sometimes by hundreds of feet, leaving buildings that were built to sit at the water's edge now facing a stretch of dry, cracked ground instead. And one town at a time, people left. In Bombay Beach, the population dropped from 991 in 1990 to 231 in 2020. That's not one event. It's 30 years of people packing up, a few at a time, until most of the town was empty. Now let's look at what they left behind. For over 20 years after that, this building sat exactly the way most of this region still looks. Boarded windows, graffiti, an empty swimming pool cracked down the middle. A few blocks away, North Shore looks like most of what's left out here. Small motels and storefronts, sun-bleached down to roughly the same shade of beige, most of them empty. What usually survives longest is the signage. The mid-century lettering on an old motel sign, still legible, long after the building behind it has been torn down or gutted. In Bombay Beach, occupied and abandoned, sit on the same block, sometimes side by side. A house with curtains and a truck out front. Next to it, a house with no roof, a couch still inside, sand drifted in under the door. Nobody cleared any of it out. People left, and the desert's been doing the rest of the work since. The Ski Inn is one of the only businesses here that's been open continuously since the boom years. Every surface inside is covered in dollar bills, signed and dated by visitors. Some from the 60s, some from last year, all of them still up there. And this is the other thing that's grown up here since the 2000s and 10s. Artists moved into the empty buildings in what's known as the Bombay Beach Estates and turned much of it into an open-air gallery, murals on walls that used to just be falling apart. A sculpture garden built from scrap. A row of junked cars arranged to face a blank screen. It actually works as a drive-in and the community uses it. And then there's Salton City, the planned lakefront community that was supposed to be the success story. The streets are still here, the sewer lines are still here, underground. The street signs are still here, promising a view of water that, depending where you're standing, might be a mile of dry lakebed away. What never showed up was the city. A few thousand people live here now, scattered across a grid built for tens of thousands. Most of the lots are still just empty pads, a driveway, a capped water line, weeds growing through cracked concrete leading to nothing. The people who came for the boom mostly aren't here anymore. What they left behind is